So Bill Maher and many others, to be fair, have gone full Zohran derangement syndrome. And it is a tough thing to watch, man. It is a tough thing to watch. It's just like you're just washed. You're just from a previous generation, a previous era, completely out of touch. And by the way, a poll just came out. Guess who the most beloved Democrat is in the country among Democratic voters? Zohran. Number one. Number one by 7 points. He's plus 57, and I believe the closest is Newsom at plus 50. So, I mean, that's amazing. That's nothing to scoff at. Well, Bill Maher is going to do exactly that. So let's take a listen.
Finally, New World Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party.
When you're definitely not washed. When you're definitely not washed, your opening joke gets dead silence among your own fans. That's incredible. That's incredible. By the way, I've been to Bill Maher's show because, of course, Crystal was on it and I was in the audience. And before the show, they have somebody come out to try to warm the crowd up and get them in the mood to laugh. And they also say, hey, there's a sign up there that says applause when they want you to applause. There's a sign up there that says laugh when they want you to laugh. I need you to laugh, bro. I need you to get into it. So they literally prime you like, hey, we kind of know Bill's not funny, but let's go ahead. When it says laugh, please laugh. Embarrassing. And that couldn't fucking save him. That could not fucking save him.
Finally, New World Democrats must recognize that Zohran Mamdani is the future of the party. Unfortunately, it's the Republican Party. Get it? And if you missed his victory speech in last week's mayoral election in New York, don't worry. You'll see it in every attack ad for the next 2 years. Now...
So, do you like capitalism? No. Seize the means of production. Defund the police. The NYPD is racist. Well, what's interesting is they threw everything they had at him and it didn't fucking work. So you can't be like, oh, this is really bad for him. It's going to work out really bad for him when he just became the most beloved Democrat among Democrats.
Mamdani seems like a nice guy, and I congratulate him on an extraordinary political achievement. But before the whole left side of the country catches socialism fever, let's listen to the other big winner in last Tuesday's election, Virginia Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger, who before the 24 election said things like, if the party didn't shift to the center, we will get fucking torn apart.
So you're willing to listen to the centrist candidate that won, but you're not willing to listen to the lefty candidate that won. It's almost like you're just a centrist. Don't hide behind like, bro, I'm just reading the tea leaves and politicking here and telling you the way to go to win. No, you're just expressing your own personal values. Own that. Don't hide behind, oh, this is what the people want. No, own your fucking perspective, own your fucking values, but you're not doing it. You're trying to make it like, oh, no, you're not even allowed to debate this. The lefties can't win. It's got to be the centrists.
We need to never use the word socialist or socialism ever again. Well, she was right, but they didn't listen.
How was she right if Zohran won in a landslide? How was she right when Zohran's the most popular politician in the country among Democrats? How was she right when who's the most beloved senator and has been perpetually for years? Bernie Sanders, who calls himself a democratic socialist and always has. He called himself that in 2016 when he ran for president. Still the most beloved senator. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about.
At least the party has a clear choice here. Very clear. One wing is saying don't ever use the word socialist again, and one is saying
I am a democratic socialist.
Clear, huh?
Yeah, one wing is saying, let's still do bipartisanship and compromise and negotiation with MAGA fascists. And the other one is saying, let's defeat the MAGA fascists and do an agenda for the people. Gee, I wonder which one of those things is going to win out in the long run.
So how do we decide who's right? Well, it turns out we don't really have to flip a coin. We have the evidence. In 2024, 13 Democrats won. In districts, Trump also won. All moderates. This isn't rocket science.
And then, by the way, what he's not telling you is the next part of that. What he's not telling you is that these people are the people who always block the best of our agenda. Then, when we get some watered-down bullshit through, what ends up happening? The country sours on Democrats and votes for Republicans. It's like Joe Manchin killing Build Back Better, which would have been fucking transformative, right? And then ends up helping the Republicans while acting like he's the savior for Democrats. Why are you not finishing the story? Are there going to be some districts where, like, oh, sorry, it just happened to be the case that only a moderate won? For sure. And it is what it is in those instances. But what he doesn't realize is he hasn't expanded his imagination to understand that in many instances, it's just bullshit to say that, oh, a moderate has a better chance than a lefty. It's just not true. In fact, there's an election happening in a Tennessee district, I believe in December, and there's somebody who is is hanging in there in the fight, even though this was supposed to be a foregone conclusion the Republican was going to win this. It's a Trump plus 20 district, and a Democratic socialist is like dead tied. So it's just like you've been lied to when they pretend like, oh, it's a purple district. Well, then you have to run a right-wing Democrat. Or you give people an actual choice between a real left-wing vision and the same MAGA bullshit. They're going to pick the left-wing vision, certainly in this era where Trump and MAGA are destroying everything. But no, he can't help himself. Like he has establishment brainworms, and it's so funny because he used to be the guy who railed against establishment brainworms.
All the left-leaning think tanks have done autopsies on 2024, and they all came up with the same message: move to the center.
So hold on now. What he's talking about is the corporate Democratic think tanks. We've all done autopsies, and guess what? It turns out we want you to still be cool with corporate tax cuts. We want you to still be cool with tax cuts for the wealthy. So that's the other thing he's not telling you here is, oh, look, some corporate-funded ghoul think tank that supports Democrats like Joe Manchin is saying Democrats like Joe Manchin are the way to go. Oh, well, what a surprise. What a surprise. Maybe the problem is the fact it's a corporate think tank in the first place.
And the New York Times, which did so much to promote woke politics, now says the partisans are wrong. Moving to the center is the way to win.
Just want to point out for you guys, go subscribe to the Current Affairs YouTube channel. And Nathan J. Robinson just did a video where he breaks down this exact study and shows how colossally flawed it is and how, frankly, made up it is. Like, they don't even account for the massive difference in fundraising among the centrist candidates and the left-wing candidates. That oftentimes the left-wing candidates, there is no institutional backing, there is no corporate backing, there is no billionaire backing, so they have, like, no fucking money, and they just leave that out of the analysis completely and say, oh, look, see, the centrist candidates win more often. Well, what a simplistic way of looking at it. And like I said, if you want a detailed breakdown of why this is a bullshit study, go watch the Current Affairs video, and Nathan J. Robinson breaks it down phenomenally well.
Democrats should recognize the party moved too far left on social issues after Obama left office. Gosh, if only someone had been saying that all along. But
okay, here's the problem with that. There's no evidence of what you're talking about. People say this all the time about Kamala Harris. They said, oh my God, she talked too much about trans issues, and she talked too much about race issues. Guys, she didn't mention race, gender, trans people, pronouns, Latinx, cancel culture, political correctness. She repeatedly said she was going to represent all Americans. She ran to the right on the issue of the border and tried to sound conservative on the border. She talked about owning a gun. She ran on freedom and patriotism. And then she leaned into economic stuff like $6,000 child tax credit and banning price gouging and things of that nature. So it's just made up when they say, oh, this is the problem. The problem is you're talking too much about social issues. She didn't fucking mention them. She didn't mention them. In fact, you're probably better off saying she should have leaned into that a little bit, right? She should have leaned into economic leftism and leaned into actually protecting these marginalized communities that are under fire by MAGA. Because guess what? MAGA says all your problems are caused by immigrants and trans people. You can't just like cede that to them and act like, sure, why not? No. Your problems are not caused by immigrants. Your problems are not caused by trans people. That's bullshit. That is completely made up. The real problems are caused by the billionaires. It's the billionaires, it's the fascists, and it's the warmongers that are causing all the problems. Not trans people, not immigrants.
Gen Z thinks socialism's wired and capitalism's tired and billionaires are what's for dinner. And who can blame them? If you're 30 and still sharing a bathroom with roommates, capitalism isn't working for you. People will reject any economic system where there's strange hair on the soap. No one wants to be approaching middle age and still writing their name on food before they put it in the fridge. So they're quiet quitting capitalism and texting socialism that they're down to fuck. Thing is, socialism will fuck you. Because socialism, to put it simply, just doesn't work and has never worked. Like Kevin Federline. I know the kids think that stuff that happened before their appearance on the planet didn't really happen, but it did. We've run this experiment many times, and the results are always obvious. Here's capitalist South Korea at night from space. Here's socialist North Korea.
Did you really just call North Korea socialist? Did you really just call North Korea social? Honestly, you have to retire after that. That is like embarrassing. That's embarrassing. They call themselves the Democratic People's Republic. Everybody knows they're not a Democratic People's Republic. It's a fucking fascist dictatorship through and through. What are you doing? What is this? By the way, every example he's going to use, he's going to leave some out. You're not going to be surprised to learn which ones he leaves out.
In 1990, Venezuela was wealthier than Poland. But then Poland, finally free of Soviet-style economics, went all in on capitalism. And now their economy is as big as Japan. And people there have high wages, low inflation, cars, vacations, homes. Meanwhile, Venezuela traded capitalism for Hugo Chavez's socialism for the 21st century, which turned out to be like socialism in the last century, or any century, a fucking mess.
Weird, you're not going to mention the embargo? You're not going to mention the sanctions? You're not going to mention the U.S. choking them out from the rest of the world? Strange. It's almost like you're being dishonest on purpose.
It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening.
So what's he not telling you? He's not mentioning Denmark. He's not mentioning Norway, Iceland, Sweden, Finland. He's not mentioning the Scandinavian region, which has some of the happiest people in the world. They do actual reports on this and rankings on this. And time again, it is the Scandinavian countries that rank the highest. Why? Because they're social democracies, which means they have a heaping dose of socialism, way more than we do here. You know, free healthcare, for example, free college, for example, paid vacation time by law, for example. Everybody's in a union in some of those countries, for example. So wages are higher, you get more vacation time, like better benefits, and everybody's happier. Why are you leaving that out? It's almost like you're a total hack and you're trying to make a hacky argument against socialism without actually engaging with the reality of socialism. It's so ironic because Maher is the type of idiot who always screams about you got to steel man your opponent, not straw man your opponent. Then he proceeds to straw man the shit out of the beliefs of younger people who are living in a capitalist hellscape where they can't afford anything anymore. They can't afford anything. Everybody's got credit card debt like crazy. Everybody's got student loan debt like crazy. Now Trump is cutting the food stamps. He also cut 94 million pounds of food that went to food banks. AI is coming to take everybody's job because of unregulated capitalism and the billionaires going crazy. And we're all supposed to sit here and say, well, I guess I don't live in Venezuela. What is this?
Zohran can't make your wishes come true. You're thinking of Zoltar.
Also, notice how smug he is and demeaning he is and condescending he is to young people. Like, he acts like you guys are just fucking idiots. You guys are just stupid. That's why you guys make the decisions you make. Meanwhile, as if it hasn't been the boomer generation, which has absolutely ruined this country many times over. The fucking most selfish assholes on the planet. Not you guys if you're a boomer and you watch this show. You're good. But as a generation, broadly speaking, these motherfuckers went to college for like 15 cents and a Pop-Tart. They got their first house for like $17,000 from a fucking Sears catalog. And they're like, I don't understand. Why are young people so pissed off? Maybe because there's no hope of having even a life equal to that of our parents, right? Maybe that's why.
Democratic socialism is like a dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million.
Now, this is where this is the most hacky thing you're ever going to hear in your life. Ready? Watch this.
When liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that poor fuck in the Oval Office last week.
Do you realize how dishonest this is? Literally every other developed country on earth has one version or another of a universal healthcare system, something we don't have here. Many of them have single-payer healthcare systems. They are all objectively better than ours. Objectively better. There is no unnecessary, rapacious, for-profit mafia middleman ripping you off and getting in between you and your doctor. It doesn't exist in other developed countries. But what does he do? Instead of comparing the U.S. system to other countries, other developed countries, he doesn't mention those at all, and he says, well, they tried to do it in Vermont and it didn't work. So obviously it doesn't work. There is no doubt in my mind that when he brought this up, he thought about, the other developed countries that have this and it works. And he said, no, that doesn't make the argument, that doesn't make the point I'm trying to make, so I'm just going to leave that. It's a lie by omission. It's a lie by omission. And then he brings up Vermont. What is he not telling you? Bill, of course, if this tiny state tries to do it in the midst of 49 other states that have rapacious for-profit healthcare, they're going to get snuffed out by the health insurance companies. There's going to be a war waged by the health insurance companies, and the health insurance companies have a zillion lobbyists in Congress. They've bought the government, and so they let them know, hey, we'll destroy your whole system if you do single payer, because they know this is existential. Because if Vermont does it, then maybe California does it, then New York does it, then all these different states do it, and then people will realize how useless the for-profit health insurance industry is. It would be an existential threat to them, which is why they made sure Vermont wasn't allowed to do it. That, again, proves, ironically, the opposite of the point he's trying to prove, that capitalism is the problem when it comes to health insurance. You shouldn't have for-profit health insurance. The incentive structure is all fucked up. They make more money the more they deny people their health care. And you're making the point about how capitalism is fucking horrible without even realizing it in the middle of your anti-socialism rant. Just so disgusting. It's just so disingenuous. What he did here was so fucking disingenuous. Oh, Bernie wants single-payer healthcare. Well, they tried it in Vermont. It didn't work. Well, why are you not talking about every other developed country that has universal healthcare where it does work? And it works way better than ours, objectively speaking, according to the data, according to actual analyses. Just so fucking dishonest. This is Zohran derangement syndrome. That's what it is. And then, by the way, he goes on in this clip to show, like, here's the DSA being goofy, where, like, you know, they say, oh, don't clap because some people here have a disability where, like, the noise gets to them and you don't want to scare them, so don't clap, do jazz hands or something like that. That's how you, like, express agreement or something. And basically what he's trying to do there is say, look, democratic socialists are just ridiculous people who are overly sensitive and, you know, they're obsessed with social issues. Meanwhile, all these democratic socialists who are running and winning, they're running laser focused on what? What was Zohran's thing? Affordability. Laser focused on the economy. Laser focused on giving people help. Universal programs, for example, right? Universal childcare, for example. Another thing that Zohran ran on. Free buses. They can't deal with the reality of democratic socialist candidates and what we advocate for. So what do? Smear democratic socialism more broadly. You're Hugo Chavez. You're Hugo Chavez, and none of your ideas have ever worked. And also, you're idiots who are obsessed with culture issues, even though you haven't said shit about it, and Mar talks about them all the fucking time. Woke and trans and shit like that. So I'm just so sick of this bullshit. Now, he's not the only one with Zohran derangement syndrome, though. Here's actor John Voight. And listen to what he says. First of all, I didn't even know this guy was still alive. Second of all, listen to this.
This city will turn into a forbidden place of darkness. The blood, sweat, and tears that the city of New York was built on will turn into a virtual refugee shelter for the radical Muslim ideology. This is now the most dangerous time for our citizens of New York. This mayor will destroy this city. We are obligated to demand our rights for our private sanctuary, our businesses, our property that we all have worked so hard for. And this 35-year-old mayor has no right dictating the rules of socialism for a city built on our highest principles with brick and stone by hardworking Americans. This must be stopped, and his mayoralty should be terminated immediately.
That's not even a thing. You fucking cretin old freak. This fucking meltdown that you're witnessing, the Zohran derangement syndrome, is all very simply because he's a Muslim immigrant democratic socialist who's pro-Palestine, and he won. That's what this meltdown is about. Because there's no way that people who are not billionaires could be this pissed off by freezing the rent, building affordable housing, cracking down on bad landlords, city-owned grocery stores, free buses, and free childcare. And this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like when the center and the right lose their fucking mind because you have something different coming along in a positive sense. Something different. And then finally, let's go to this guy. This guy's whole existence, by the way, is an indictment on capitalism. This guy's whole existence, Kevin O'Leary, he's worth like $400 million, and he's one of the biggest idiots in the country. And like I said, just the fact that he is where he is itself is like shows that capitalism has colossal flaws. Listen.
Are you expecting a mass exodus out of New York? Not just the police, but everybody.
No, I'm expecting a massive inflow, and I'll tell you why. I just got back last night for the first time since the new mayor was elected, and I was expecting a free ride from the airport, didn't get it.
He didn't run on that. You made that up.
I wanted a free dinner, didn't get it. And
you made that up too.
Couldn't believe they charged me for my hotel.
You made that up too. He never said free hotels.
He promised me free everything.
He didn't promise you free everything. He ran on freezing the rent, building affordable housing, cracking down on bad landlords, city-owned grocery stores, free buses, and free childcare. Free buses and childcare are absolutely positively doable, and you're pretending like it's absurd, even though you know it's not absurd, because you're a billionaire and you don't want your taxes raised.
Hasn't delivered yet. I'm monitoring the situation. This is just wrong. You can't tell me it's okay to come on and tell me I'm getting everything for free and then don't deliver.
See, it's supposed to be funny, right? And even Stuart Varney is fucking forcing a laugh there. Now look at how awkward this back and forth becomes as they try to pretend like they're spitting fire here.
What is he, a politician or something?
Sarcasm is a low form of wit.
I'm not kidding. I want free. That's what I'm getting out of him. Let's go.
Those buses. I'm surprised that the homeless have not already taken over city buses on the ground that they elected the guy who's going to give it for free.
Who is this for? Actually, no, don't. I know who this is for. This is for billionaires. This is for New York billionaires.
It's money for nothing and chicks for free, but not for me, apparently.
That was a line from a song.
It is. It's Dire Straits. It should have been his campaign song.
Mark.
This is literally like an 83-year-old billionaire who takes 3 Viagra pills a day to get a hard-on for 3 minutes. This guy sitting there in his fucking penthouse in New York City on his stack of $12 billion, and he's laughing at this. He's laughing at this. Ha ha, yeah, crazy, stupid fucking Zohran. Ha 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 ha. Kevin O'Leary being worth $400 million, just that in and of itself is just so damning about capitalism, isn't it? But this is what we're dealing with now. Like, none of the people who are against Zohran can muster a single rational, logical, coherent argument. Absolutely none of them. And you know what? Deep down, I think they all know that, which is why you get these pathetic efforts. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.